Yes, wagwan wadau, this is Tamoji TV na vile mnaona hapa sisi wote ni majenzia, yani form tumeamua mambo ni Gen Z for transformative. Amazing. Leo niko hapa na mheshimiwa ambaye labda mmemwona kwa mtandao kidogo kidogo. Mheshimiwa, unajua wewe pia, unajua ninapokuja hapo watu niambia wewe ukifika tu hivi ambia Kolo. Ambia Kolo tunamngoja kwa ballot.
Okay.
So ni kama pia umetembea Lang'ata sana, si ndio?
Tumetembea Lang'ata. Mimi ni mkaaji hapa, wa kuzaliwa hapa. Najuana na watu huko Lang'ata, area zote za Umugumoini, High Rise, hapa South Sea mahali tuko, kule chini Karen, na pale Nairobi West. So yes, tumetembea, tumeongea na watu, na tunatumaini kwamba watatusupport raundi hii.
Amazing.
Wanataka kuona mabadiliko, na mabadiliko ni mengi yenye tutaleta kwa meza. Asante sana.
Amazing.
Yes.
Natumai kuna pale the first viewer, the first person, maybe it is not the first time anakuwatch pale, anakutazama pale. Labda utajiintroduce ndio tupate kuendelea vizuri.
Asante sana.
Yeah.
So mimi kwa majina naitwa Collins Chumba I Collins, aka wananiita, najitambulisha kwa ground kama Kolo. Hiyo ndio jina imesikika zaidi. Na mimi ni mkaaji born and raised here in Lang'ata, here in South Sea, mahali tuko kwa sasa. Na mimi ni kijana mwenye nimejitokeza na vijana wenzangu, na tukasema raundi hii we would want to be the change that we want to see. Kwa muda we have been voting, we have been putting our eggs in one basket. Kwa muda tumekuwa tukisupport watu wengine, and this time round we believe that if we support one of our own, then we are going to vote for a very visionary leadership. So what does it mean in terms of visionary leadership? Wacha tu nikueleze kidogo. Inamaanisha a competence based leadership. Leadership ile iko na matumaini ya accountability and transparency. Leadership ile yenye iko na ile agency and the energy ya kusukuma miradi ya watu wa Lang'ata. Na hiyo ndo tunatarajia kuleta kwa meza. So mimi kama kijana, mimi kama Gen Z, nimejitokeza, nimejipa moyo na vijana wenzangu, wamama, wale marginalized, wale disabled, na wale from previous also administrations, na tukasema this time round we have to support our own. Watu wa residents wako ndani, vijana wako ndani, Gen Z wako ndani. Sasa si pia wewe uko ndani tu mara moja tusongeshe.
Mimi niko
tusongeshe hii maneno ingiane.
Tangu nianze kuinterview sana watu wa Lang'ata ama niseme Karen.
Yes.
You are the first person mwenye nimepata ni kama the real Gen Z. Hao wengine wanasemanga sisi ni Gen Z lakini miaka imepita kidogo.
Okay.
Na wewe naona wewe you are still young actually. And I can say you are a visionary person.
Yes.
Not more than a leader, but someone who can actually focus and can foresee so many things.
Yes.
What actually motivates you to vie for Lang'ata?
You see, having grown up in this particular region, we have been seeing a lot of rot in our leadership, a lot of rot in our administration, and having been exposed. You see, they say Gen Z are exposed. It means that we have the knowledge, we have the capacity, we have the integrity to go for this elective leadership. So what motivates me is that being in an area and then seeing a lot of rot in that area, a lot of rot in the leadership, and now demanding for a huge change in that leadership. So what are we looking into? We are looking into transparency, accountability, and the change that we want to. Now we want to be the change that we want to see. We want to be having the responsibility that encompasses us to foresee the Lang'ata that we want to see. We want to secure our future as a Gen Z. And we foresee our future in the name of prosperity, economic opportunities in terms of leverage, employment opportunities. Yani watu watoke kwa mawe kabisa, in the sense of advocating for policies that also support the Gen Zs, the small and medium enterprises, businesses that are here in Lang'ata, and for most probably and most importantly, the residents of Lang'ata. We have many voters in Lang'ata. Close to it, we are clocking 170,000. But you can imagine a magnitude of that much and a leadership that does not support their initiative. It's very wrong. Yeah. So that's why it motivates me as a young person to come out clearly and articulate these issues in the floor of the House, and to sell the agenda to the people of Langata. So that is what motivates me. That is what keeps me, it's called purposeful living. Yeah, so that's what we want to look into, and that is what we are going for. Yes, we just want to be the change that we want to see.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, since you declare that you are now going for MP, Langata constituency,
Yes.
have you ever actually associated maybe with youth, you hear from them, or what are your goals? Do you have your personal goals, or you are just behind something that can transform this inaitwa Langata constituency? Kuna venye inaitwa sijui ni 001 ama
001 is a county. Langata is Langata. Langata is Langata.
Yeah.
Reason for being confused is because Langata is a hot area.
Okay.
It's a very hot area here. It's amongst the hottest areas in Nairobi as a constituency, because of the kind of people who are here. It encompasses the 1%, the middle class, the lower class,
But
so
mostly, Mheshimiwa,
yes.
Usiseme lower class.
No, but it is the reality of things. Yeah, because ever since Langata divided from Kibra, we still have Langata still encompasses some parts of Kibra.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see Kibra.
So we have some slums in Langata.
Yes, we do have. Okay. We call them informal settlement areas. And they are here in Langata, and they vote here in Langata. They do their economic activities here, and they reside here. So we also have to represent those voices from such backgrounds.
Okay.
Yes. So it also has the 1%, as you know, Karen, some areas of South Sea, Nairobi West, Mugumoini. We have residential areas across the 5 wards. Yes. So it's only fair to say that it is balanced and it has everyone in it. Okay. So we have to be the voices of women. We have to also advocate for the youth. We also have to advocate for the residential. We also have to advocate for the informal settlement areas and also the business people who are also in this region.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm sorry for the interruption. Just back to my question.
Yes.
Have you interacted with these people and actually heard maybe from them some of the complaints?
Okay. Allow me to go back a little bit.
Yes.
To give you a background of this particular leadership.
Okay.
First and foremost, I am born and raised here in Langata. So as the youth who are the majority in this particular region. Having born and raised here in Langata, I am in touch with the ground on a daily basis. That means that I am readily accessible. They see me as one of them. They see me as a visionary leader, and they see me as someone who has the potential to bring that change. So being very in touch and close to the ground, it means I am very much in relation with these people. As you've said, I'm the only Gen Z you've interviewed amongst all the aspirants in Langata.
Yeah, of course.
So you see now, that is where the difference comes in. Secondly, during this particular bid, it is accumulation, or it was a support base from the residential area who came together, and they said they would want to front the one person. They would want to front someone who will bring the change that they want to see, someone who will speak and articulate issues and policies on the floor of the house. Okay. Then I became the person of choice. Amongst the youth, again, I have championed for youth-related activities. We have been doing very inspirational work in regards to environmental sustainability, in regards to youth empowerment, in regards to mentorship, etc., etc. Wow. So that is how the background of Kolo being at the front seat came to life, because there's a huge backing behind me, and I am representing the voices of those people who have given me that chance to be on the front road.
Amazing.
Yes.
Now, Mheshimiwa, mostly I can see you are advocating for youths.
Yes.
And yet we have wamama, we have wazee, of course, because you are a youth.
Yes.
And you have to be supported by your fellow Gen Zs.
Yes.
But have you ever maybe interacted with this wamama, wazee, wanaitwa aje, ni wale wa biashara ndogo ndogo? Unajua kuna wenye wanafanya biashara ndogo ndogo.
Yes.
Wangependa some to boost their business. Have you ever interacted with them? And what is their view? What is their take? What is their perception? How do they perceive you in the ground?
Thank you for that particular question. It's a very interesting one. So looking at Langata as a whole, there is, looking at the Kenya's political landscape,
Yes.
there is a rallying call for change that has been engineered by the voices of the Gen Z. Yeah. And this rallying call is what everyone wants to see. We have been seeing the same faces over time. We have been seeing the kind of rot in leadership over time. And we have said as a nation that we need to change. We need to have an election that is very intentional. People to have leaders or to elect leaders whom they have carefully scrutinized in terms of their background, in terms of not just about making promises, but actualizing or making those decisions to be very intentional and actionable in the future as per they are incumbent in those seats. So looking at Langata to be specific as a case study, as you've mentioned, yes, I am advocating for Langata, for the youth in Langata, but also I've mentioned to you that residents in this particular area, the residential community of Langata as a whole, it has those Gen Z, it has those household units who are nuclear families, it has both wazee, wamama, it has those young people, it has the millennials. So a household it's a nuclear family. So if I tell you I'm representing the residential and the youth, it means the women, the wazees, and the youth are also part of it. So during my survey, during my groundwork, I do interact with, I believe you call them the small, medium enterprise community.
Of course, yeah.
This is very critical. For them, they look at it in terms of the larger discussion of matters, policies, taxation, and the macroeconomic model of the nation, because it affects businesses, it affects business decisions, it affects how much they are being pressed, it affects matters, permits, it affects matters compliance, KRA, etc., etc. So I believe that having chat with them, it gives me the opportunity to also understand their views, to also understand what are their stress points, so that as per I am elected, or as per I am also advocating for them, I have policies that when it comes to the time when I'm now in parliament, when you are doing this interview sometime next year, a time like this, when I've been
From August.
from August, we'll be here celebrating and saying now, let us hit the ground running. Yes, I've been doing some things here and there. Yes, I've been listening to them. Yes, I've been having a chat with them, and the feedback is fairly positive, and I really hope the best for them as well, in the sense that they have picked and they have a very, very credible, very elaborate leader, someone who is going to work for them.
Wow.
Yes.
Amazing. Kwa hivyo wamekupokea kwa furaha.
Kwa furaha, shangwe na vigelegele.
Sangwe na vigelegele.
Siku tutapigwa.
Na by the way, mheshimiwa, I can
Yes.
see many youths are now rising.
Yes.
And mostly wanaingia kwa politics sana.
Okay.
Like maybe there is some hidden thing that youths actually have come to realize.
Yes.
How do you see a leadership, Gen Z's leadership in this country, maybe in the next 5 years?
You see, we are not only looking at the Gen Z being or vying for those positions.
Yes.
We are looking at visionary Gen Zs to take part in that position. There are two facets of what you've mentioned. Allow me to break it down. The first is the rallying call for change, which has been engineered by the youth and the Gen Z. They're the people who have foreseen their future being at a stake. And they're like, no, we have been played for a very long time. The script is the same for a very long time. And we want to overturn that script for the benefit of the future of this nation. That is the first aspect. The second aspect of leadership, we demand visionary leadership. In as much as no one will give you a vote in as much as you are a Gen Z and have fight for a position. But most people are willing to listen to someone who is visionary, someone who has or is projecting a track record that will make sense as per the time will be in office. Someone who is a credible leader, someone who is accessible, someone who understands and carefully knows the issues of the people of the ground. Like for myself, I'm born and raised here in Langata. That is a huge stepping stone, because now I am in relation with these people on a daily basis. I understand what these people are talking about in regards to water issues, regards to security, bursary allocation, etc., and other endeavors here in Langata. So now I'd say that it's a rallying call for any visionary and someone who is credible to take up that responsibility and say that we want to be the change that we want to see. Yes, I understand from your point of view, from what even I had mentioned about it's a rallying call for change. We are not just changing from the old system to the new, but the new system is coming up with a new energy to push and lobby for change in parliament, to push and lobby for most of the challenges that the people in their constituents are facing, to push and lobby for representation, legislation, and proper oversight when it comes to public resources. So that is the vibe that we want to push for. We are talking about matters economic prosperity. And upon economic prosperity is where a change is going to come from. There's no employment or making Kenya a productive economy when you're just talking about narratives. No, that won't work. But if we have visionary leadership in place, someone who can be designated as someone whom we can trust, someone who is credible, and someone who has all the other leadership qualities to be and to serve as the member of parliament in a certain area, then we are going to meet up in parliament. Because I know this time round, there are so many people who are going to go home, I can tell you. Because the first question we'll be asking is, we voted for person X. These are the promises that they gave us. Upon next year, we'll be having serious scrutiny and serious debates around these particular individuals. We are not voting someone on the basis of being a flower boy or a flower girl. That one is long dusted and it's long gone. We are going to vote for someone who has given the chance who was given a mandate and has actually actualized the mandate as delivered as per what we did in 2022. Because as of now, we are now there, then we are demanding that we are the best people to take up that role. Yes.
That brings me for another question.
Yes.
Because I really like Gen Zs because they normally have a stand.
Okay.
And as we speak right now, there is a trending notion. Can I say a notion? This slogan of one term and two term. And I don't know, you are on which side? Are you on two term, one term?
So now this is where I had mentioned. Allow me to go back a little bit. That the Gen Z movement is very delicate and critical. The movement has also millennials, has also the common mwananchi, has the person who feels that he is a critic to the government of the day, and the person who feels that the government of the day has failed. So it has the people who are pushing the narrative, and now it has the leadership on this other side. And the leadership which I'm talking about is now the visionary leadership. So looking at the movement, of course, the movement has been infiltrated with those narratives. You can name them, they usually trend on a daily basis, but ask yourself, do you think a narrative would change the common mwananchi's perspective when it comes to real change? Real change, which we are talking about here, is about economic prosperity. And me looking at those narratives, they barely have matters about employment of the youth. They barely have matters about taxation. They barely have matters about, how can we transform a region like Langata, which is very, very economically potential, to the next level. How can we create opportunities for our youth? How can we have more industries here in Langata? How can we be accountable enough to build infrastructure, roads, and come through for our people in Langata? Small business owners don't want to listen to narratives because they're the people who are hustling on a daily basis to build the national revenue of this country. So them building the national revenue of the country, then leaders coming up with narratives which actually don't serve them, instead of telling us that this is where public resources have been spent, this is where we are, this is where we are going. That is the discussion we want to have. But being in narratives, they are infiltrated, they come up, they go down, it is transferred from one person to the other, and it moves on like hot air. So you want to build a narrative. Me, I'd want to be in a narrative which talks about economic prosperity, employment to the youth. How can we deal with the drainage and flooding problem in Langata? How can we deal with the marginalized communities in Langata? How can we increase voices of those in the informal settlement areas? How can we increase allocations of bursaries for those who have stayed here and have never even gotten a chance to get that bursary? So are we talking about narratives on one hand, or we are talking about economic prosperity? So us as Gen Z, I believe that visionary leadership is encompassed with change. The change is now what you call economic change. Once you get that narrative of economic change, or you can place me on whichever, depending on how I've explained it to you, and then we see whether it makes sense or not.
No problem. And actually, by the way, in Langata, we have so many challenges based on the concern from the residents.
Yes.
And I just, because of time,
Yes.
I'll just give you some few minutes to
Okay.
just elaborate to us some of the major challenges in Langata constituency, and under your leadership, or under your leadership, how are you going to make some changes onto them?
Thank you for that. We recently had a residential community meeting recently to discuss tentatively and to dive deep into, if not all, most of the challenges that the people of Langata are facing. And one that was very consistent is water shortage. Langata deserves more, deserves better. Yes, we do receive water on certain days. Yes, the current leadership has tried to improve water supply in some areas, in some areas on certain days. But why is it that we cannot get our own piping system from the source all the way to Langata? Does it have to pass through other regions where there's leakages, where there's illegal connections, etc.? Why does it have to be that way? Why can't we allocate funds for construction of those pipes to from the horse's place, the horse's source, come back directly to the residential area? Another challenge that has come up recently is the rise of insecurity, especially in South Sea. We are talking about mugging of phones. We are talking about shops being robbed. We are talking about our fellow phone snatchers, And many years ago, Langata never used to be, in fact, it used to be the safest area. So I believe criminal rates increase as per an area is densely populated, but we need to have frameworks to also counter that. So that's also another challenge. Another challenge which is amongst the youth is unemployment. The rise of unemployment is fairly on the high scale. And we need to come up with systems, with hubs that appreciate the policies that really appreciate and support the youth. The power of being in national government is to come up with a workable environment, with a conducive environment, even for investors to come and set up industries here in Langata. Why not? We can have international hubs here. We can have digital hubs here. We can have regional hubs here that support digital content creation for the youth, for the Gen Z at large. We can have systems that give, in terms of, instead of creating an MP creating a job, we can leverage on an MP, as myself, bridging the gap between access and the economic opportunity. So once the gap has been bridged, yes, we understand that the government of the day, or any government, cannot employ everyone. There's what you call division of labor in the society. Not everyone can be a journalist as yourself. Not everyone can be in elective leadership. Not everyone can be a digital content creator. Not everyone can be a driver or whatsoever, So people have different skills and talents in the community, which we need to appreciate it. And we need to come up with ways in which we can elevate this and tap onto these skills and showcase to the world that our people here in Langata, our youth here in Langata, they are indeed ripe for talent. They're indeed ripe to be employed in workplaces, the private sector, being a very huge contributor to our Langata economy. So just having a leverage into how can this youth fit into that? Because I can tell you, if you've done your research, especially in the private sector, even in the government sector, they do say that Gen Zs are the laziest. But do you know what time a Gen Z clocks in the time someone has been employed in an office? 6 a.m. a Gen Z is already an early bird in that particular office. And that Gen Z, if he or she has been employed from 9 to 5, that Gen Z will clock in at 6 and leave amongst the last people at 6 p.m. in the evening. That's a total of 12 hours, 12 working hours, Monday to Friday. Call a Gen Z over the weekend to support you in a certain endeavor in your workspace. You will get them. Yeah, you will still come. You are here, you're a Gen Z. It's over the weekend. You can see. Yeah, it's a bright weekend, and you're here. Look at that. So this narrative that Gen Zs are lazy, that we do not perform in workspaces, that we cannot do any other thing than watch Netflix or eat Glovo, that one is a stereotypic narrative which needs to be banned as much as possible. That is hate speech to us. Yeah, but us, we are very talented. We are the people who would want to see change in Kenya. The reason we want to see change in Kenya, we just don't want to be a noisy block, but we want to be very intentional with what change we also bring in. So we also want just a conducive environment of the Kenyan people. I myself want to champion for the Langata objectives, the challenges which they have been forwarding to me, the many meetings which I've attended. There are so many things which I normally gather, so many insights from the ground, from the people, from chairmen, heads of institutions in Langata, from youth leaders, from chairpersons of different residential areas, from religious community, from the residential community, and us ourselves. So we believe that we want to bring solutions that actually match their expectations in the long run.
Actually,
Yes.
I really like your visions because they actually tackle all corners of the Langata constituency.
Yes.
We talk about employment, it's a key.
Yes.
We talk about security, it's a key.
Yes.
Now, by the way, in terms of mobilization, Shimio,
Yes.
how do you do your mobilization? Because there is this trending that Langata, there is a lot of handouts. Before that, do you like handouts?
Do I like handouts?
Yes.
No, I don't like handouts.
You don't like, but do you like giving handouts?
Do I like giving handouts?
Yeah.
You see now, let me tell you one thing. There's nowhere you can go, there's nowhere you can spend your time where someone has absconded their duties. You've called for a meeting. Someone will have been in a shop, a Mama Mboga, someone would have been in a shop, in his or her own kibanda hapo. And you've called that person to hear her out, to just listen to the solutions that I'm bringing to their table. So you see now it's a win-win situation because now I've gotten her audience and she has gotten to understand who
So
Kolo
apart
is
from that,
and what Kolo is
apart from
encompassing.
that,
Yes.
is there any system you can use to do your mobilization without doing maybe giving out handouts for people maybe to attend your meeting?
Yeah, I was opposed to on-ground activation and going to where Raia wako. For me, it's a huge. I wouldn't say it's a challenge because Mimi, I'm youthful as the larger population of Langata. Having been born and raised here, people understand my vision more than what I'm offering as of now. And let me tell you another thing. Looking at this political landscape that is just popped up, I think Langata is falling onto the place where they are really calling for change. As I mentioned to you, it's amongst the hottest constituencies we are having here in Nairobi, meaning it has a very huge population, huge potential in terms of economics, and a huge bargain in terms of the dense population that is here, the opportunities that are here. So Langata, watu wanataka kusikia maoni ya mtu zaidi, ule mtu atatupatia nini. Na ule mtu atatupatia nini, watu si wajinga. Raundi hii, people have changed their political dynamics. And I can tell you, people of Langata will tell you, no, tuambie wewe utatusaidia aje kutoka kwa hii mawe yenye tuko. Wewe sisi ni wafanye bodaboda. utatusaidia aje kwa kile hii kivuli chetu tutapata aje? Sisi ni wafanya biashara wa pale, tunauza maembe, tunauza matunda, tunauza chakula kwa kibandaski. Utatusaidia vipi hii uchumi vile imetufinya hivi? Sisi kama vijana tunataka kujua tutapata aje kazi. Hatutaki hiyo yako ya mfuko because tunajua kesho tena tutakuja kukuitisha. Lakini tunataka ile kitu yenye tutakuwa tunapata kila mwezi. Tuanzishie biashara yenye itatutoa kwa mawe. Tufanyie kitu inaitwa real empowerment. Ile yenye wao wenyewe watafurahia kujitafutia. And that is how the youth have had, the SMEs have had, the women have had, the marginalized. They want their voices to be heard. They also are part and parcel of this community. So they also have their own shares here in Langata. In as much as someone is a resident, someone is a voter, someone is a victim of crime or not, someone is a church congregant or a mosque attendant or not, someone enjoys the economic laxity here in Langata, they are free to understand where the solutions will be coming from. And that is where now we call for the rallying call for change here in Langata. So we want to see the change. We want leaders who are very visionary, someone who is going to change the narrative, someone who is going to bring the actual changes that the people of Langata are facing all this time. Yes.
Amazing. Now, maybe under your leadership, how do you see Langata in the next 5 years?
Okay, I see Langata as a very potential, I call it as a potential hub across all areas. Because under my leadership, I am going to work very closely with private and other institutions to see how we are going to create jobs for the youth, especially the youth. Nowadays, we have a huge bulge of youth who are skilled. So we have a huge bulge of skilled laborers, people who have gone for technical studies, people who have done certifications even online, people who are skilled in terms of going for college or university. So I believe that this huge bulge should fit into the private or even the government sector, looking at how best can I lobby for some of these changes, how best can we have as an engagement with these people, So in terms of the economic aspect, I see it as a leverage for the bulge against unemployment going down. That is number one. Number two, I foresee a region that, because I'm going to also spend heavily the CDF funds in terms of building infrastructure. There's a lot of development that is ongoing, especially here in South Sea. As you have seen, Langata, particularly in the last 5 years, is not as is as of now. So there are newer challenges that are coming up with the current administration. So I believe that it is a huge stepping stone for even an opportunity for myself to come up with solutions and to increase the number or the amount of allocations or even the distance when it comes to kilometers of coverage of tarmac road here in Langata. So we're also looking at drainage and infrastructure as a wide scope. So flooding should not be there in the future, because I believe that unclogging the current system, building drainage that leads to where it's supposed to dump its materials are well covered. So I'm also seeing Langata to be very advanced in terms of our infrastructure. Because now we're in the age of technology, we're in the age of particularly AI, we are going to have particularly digital hubs, introduction of digital hubs or more of them, of these facilities, especially in the area. Reason being is to appreciate the talent and the skills from these young fellows, to come and learn even more, equip them with capacity so that they can create jobs for themselves. We talk about being your own boss here in Langata. So that is also another thing. So kumaanisha vijana wengi wataomoka. Unajua lazima ujue pia ni mtindo gani. Lazima vijana wakuwe na kitu kwa mfuko. And they must learn how to get it in the right way. And they also must learn how to use it in the right way. Juu hata ukipata hata milioni sahi and you use it in a very awkward manner, it becomes a challenge in the future. So you want people to progress, you want people to be carefully and fully empowered in the right direction. Yes, so that is what we are looking at in the next 5 years or so.
Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. Maybe one question, then we just call it a wrap.
Yes.
I don't know, it is true that for you to become an MP,
Yes.
Langata constituency,
Yes.
you must be in good relationship with the national government
Yes.
because of the parastatal within Langata.
Yes.
And so far, what have you done?
That's a good question. So the question of unemployment can be sorted out in two facets. Either to lobby for and rally for the private sector to create jobs for the people of Langata, especially in this region. So it depends on how best I am going to be knocking at their door and asking, can we have an engagement of how can we come up with a framework?
So that is what
we have
I'm
a huge
asking.
bulge.
So far, what
Yes.
have you done?
So far, we have sat with our fellow residents.
Okay.
And you can see our fellow residents are also very key and very institutional and very influential in these institutions. So they come through. As I told you, we had a meeting of the residential corner, residential community of Langata, where it was represented by, if not all, most of the regions within South Sea, most of the regions in Karen, most of the regions in Nairobi West, most of the regions in Mugumoini and High Rise. So we did have a tentative conversation on how can we empower these particular people called the residents, and how can we tackle unemployment. So what we discussed was actually the private-public partnerships that were in place. What we discussed is how can we make the huge bulge of unemployment become a productive economy? How can we come up, among the discussions of which we discussed is how can we leverage the social media? How can we leverage the youth to come and understand more and build capacity regarding digital content creation? Because it's a new thing that has come up, and so many youth need to learn about it, need to understand carefully about it. Many youth, I believe, through the discussions, we discussed also about how we can come up with digital hubs, where we can also empower our people to learn and have the capacity about AI and how to monetize your skill using AI. It is a new thing nowadays. You can make money when you're in your bedroom. You know, your bed and breakfast can be $1 million Kenya shillings just at the comfort of your home. So I believe that is where the world is going. So why should Langata be phased out when it comes to matters technology, when it comes to matters internet, when it comes to monetizing our skills and talent? Yeah, so those are some of the steps I have taken. And I believe having those constant engagements with the private institutions is where our solutions are going to come from. That is where jobs are going to be created. So there, as I mentioned, there are two facets. One is engaging actively and knocking the doors of the private sector and getting to understand what are their needs and bringing a population of youth who are also skilled. But also on this other side, you're going to also build capacity. So it's going to be a productive hub. That's why I call it Langata as a productive community, because we do have those youth who are skilled and they can be of much production in terms of generating even revenue on the national scale. Yeah, so there's a lot that needs to be done. There's a huge potential that needs to be tapped onto. And yeah, I believe next year is the time where we are going to now actualize and ensure that once we have been elected in these particular positions, we are now going to actionize and carefully now set up timelines, frameworks, strategies that supports some of this vision and the ideas that we are having. Yes, to ensure that they are well implemented for the people of Langata.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Yes.
very much. I can see my director is reminding me about time. So maybe in a peroration, I just want you to speak to the people of Langata constituency.
Okay.
That was just but a normal conversation.
Okay.
I want you to talk to Mama Mboga,
Okay.
wale wa boda,
Okay.
vijana,
Okay.
wale wazee
Yes.
in a general.
Okay.
Thank you and you are welcome.
Asante sana. Bwana Director, I really wished to have had a much more engagement with the residents of Langata. Here, my name is Kolo once again, and I am an aspiring Member of Parliament here in Langata. Reason for this is we are in a time period for change that we want to see. We want to champion for the change that we want to see, This means we want to talk about economic prosperity. This means that we want to talk about matters. How are we going to tackle unemployment here in Langata? How are we going to tackle gender-based violence here in Langata? How are we going to tackle the water issues here in Langata? How are we going to tackle insecurity here in Langata? And this is our rallying call to the change that we want to see. Here in front of you is Kolo, very visionary, very accessible, and very competent on matters, the issues that pertain here in Langata. And we do have only 5 years for us to bring this kind of visionary change. I am privileged that you have given me the opportunity, the chance, and the privilege to also be in front of you and also to champion this change that we want to see. So come next year, let us choose a leadership that listens. Let us have leadership that brings about accountability. Let us have leadership that brings about transformational engagement. Let us have this engagement more and more so that we can realize the change that we want to see. So, having born and raised here in Langata, I perceive myself as the best person who carefully understands your challenges, carefully understands what the Mama Mboga is going through, carefully understands what the border community and goes through, carefully understands what the residential community is going through, also the SMEs and the small medium enterprise community is going through, and also last but not least the informal settlement in Langata. And being very young and energetic, I believe that this is the energy that is needed to push for the changes that we want to see. So let us come in numbers, let us support your very own, let us support young minds, because upon young minds is where now new and fresh solutions are going to come from. Young minds is where now we have the urgency and the passion to bring a futuristic change that is transformational for the people of Langata to bring about prosperity. So asanteni sana. I really appreciate you guys for your time, and I really appreciate you guys for the support that you've continually given me. Asante sana. Yes.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Mheshimiwa. I've actually noticed something from you. You are very, can I just say you are very informative. You are much informed. And you are so much brilliant, actually, and a visionary leader. I wish you all the best.
Asante sana.
And I can say it is time for change with Gen Z. This is Tamoji TV. See you next time.
Asante.